Hello, welcome back to the live stream lounge. I'm Lex, and I am joined by incomparable writer and creator Nic Stone. Nick, how are you?
Incomparable. I'll take it.
I ain't trying to compare you to anybody.
I'll take it.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. This is my first Comic-Con, and I'm like, whoo, people. Lots of people.
This is your first San Diego?
My first San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay, so now I want to talk about that. So this being your first San Diego Comic-Con, give us a brief, if you can, give us the impression that you have walking in here for the first time.
I mean, it's magic. You know, like, it's awesome being surrounded by people who are passionate about things that I'm passionate about, right? Like, that part's awesome. It's also like, oh my God, there are so many people. Which, after 2 years of no people.
Right?
Yeah.
Not seeing people through screens was something that was but also very, very refreshing that I was like, oh, yeah.
And it's also, I feel like, I'm like, okay, this is baptism by fire. Like, we have to people again.
Yeah, well now, and also you are a writer that is giving voice to a very beloved character in the Marvel Universe, Shuri.
My girl.
So please tell us about your novel, please.
Yeah, so I wrote a middle grade trilogy about Shuri. She's 13 in the series, which gave me an opportunity to kind of like flesh out her backstory. That was probably the coolest part of the experience, is like creating canon. Like, what? Yeah. Who would have thunk? But yeah, so in the first, I mean, she's just trying to save things and figure herself out. You know, she's a 13-year-old girl. So it was such a delight getting to tell those stories, largely because I like kind of was her when I was a kid. And I got clowned for it all the time. I remember being 12. My favorite book when I was in 7th grade was Michael Crichton's Sphere.
Yeah, okay.
Hardcore adult science fiction that is really intense. And everybody was like, you're such a nerd. And now I'm writing one of the coolest Marvel characters ever. So
who has the last laugh now, huh?
Come at me,
exactly.
Right?
So like you said you felt like you kind of were Shuri. What was it like, kind of like stepping into your own past and kind of like putting yourself almost in Shuri's mindset, like where you were? What has that been like? Because that's such an important part in people's lives.
Yeah, and it's so validating. Like, being able to validate yourself through creation. Like, anytime I get the opportunity to speak to kids, whether they are elementary school, middle school, high school, I tell them to write their stories down, because there's something very powerful about putting your experiences down on paper in a way that other people can engage with. And so writing her was me validating my little science-loving 7th grade self. And I think I haven't had an experience like that in any other writing projects that I've done. So I'm like eternally grateful, you know? Like, it's powerful getting to express yourself as you've always been in a world that was unkind to yourself when you were that way. But yeah, it's been so much fun. So much fun. And just getting to kind of like engage with a superhero with no powers. And that part has, like, her power is her brain. And yeah, so getting to write her, hopefully it's also just encouraging for, like, little black kids in STEM who want to invent things and who want to save the world by innovating, you know? Like, go do it.
Yeah, and I know I'm sure it's an understatement to say that you're an inspiration to many young creators out there. So what would you say to young creators out there that want to start writing, want to start creating, want to tell their own stories, but maybe have been clowned a little bit, and sometimes you kind of feel like, maybe I shouldn't. What for you gave you that drive to go like, no, I'm going to tell this story no matter what?
Not seeing me. I think that there's something, sometimes it's like, well, I don't see myself, so that means I don't belong here. And that was kind of my thinking for a long time. And then I think I had a kid. Having a kid kind of will change things in so many ways. But when my older son was born, I just recognized that, like, there wasn't a single book that I wanted to give him. Like, I want you to read this when you're 5 or 6 or 7 because it represents what you can be. They didn't exist. Like, there weren't any. And it was seeing that and recognizing that, wait a minute, if I'm not seeing myself or kids like me reflected in the spaces where I like to be, I have to put myself there. So that would be what I would say to young creators. Like, put yourself in the places you want to be. Nothing can stop you but you. So do it. Like, let nothing stop you from chasing the dreams that you have. And then once you grab them, work hard to keep them, because you got to work hard to keep them.
Now, and speaking of working hard, and you mentioned your oldest, now I understand that y'all, the family that cosplays together, is fans together. So please, because this is something that I really think, I mean, I'm going to try to get my mom to dress up to cosplay one day.
Yes.
But please talk about not only being, I mean, the most awesome mom in the multiverse, but cosplaying and sharing that fandom with your kids. It's awesome.
Oh my God, my kids. So I have 2 sons. The little one is 6. His name is Milo, and he is Spider-Man, if you ask him. We took him to like a rock climbing experience, and now he is fully convinced that he is Spider-Man, and he lives in his Miles Morales costume. My older son is more into Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. So his costume of choice is typically Black Panther. I like dressing up as Dora Milaje because, like,
how can you not, right?
Right. And their dad, we have not gotten to dress up yet.
No?
Not yet.
Who are you going to try to get dad dressed up as?
You know, I really want him to dress up as, like, Thanos. Like, just feel very powerful for a second. And then recognize that maybe you shouldn't destroy happiness.
You mean, shouldn't? You're going to give him full purple, full
just
wrinkled chin?
The whole 9. Just the whole thing. Or Korg. That'd be fun.
Korg? Put some
Korg
rocks on him, yeah.
Just cover him in rocks.
Well, I think you go for that. Nic, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure talking to you.
Same. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. And please read all of Nic Stone's novels featuring Shuri. And please follow Nic Stone. Where can people follow you on social media?
I am at Nic Stone, super creative, on Instagram. That's really the place to follow. It's at NICSTONE.
Do it. And please stay tuned for all the cool things happening here from Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con 2022.